one for everybody.
They will, because I did something, and they gave me my money back at Animal Kingdom. That after hours, after dark, Animal Kingdom after dark.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, it appears that we are live.
We are live.
It's just me and Mark Daniel and a bunch of other people, so we're good to go. Up. All right, 10 people are in here. What's up, everybody?
That's all we need. 10 people. Any more, that's better, but 10 is good. Just don't leave.
Yeah. So I'm DJ Elliot.
And I'm Mark Daniel. DJ Elliot, how you doing, man? I'm going to call you Star Wars DJ. That's what it is right now. Star Wars DJ, what's up?
What's up, Star Wars host? Is that what you want to be?
Yeah. Star Wars host. I'm like a host on Star Wars, just like a parasite.
There you go. Exactly. So it's been an interesting couple days on Facebook because I keep getting all of these memories looking back to when we started 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Can you believe it's been 10 years?
10 years ago. I can't believe there's a time when I did not know you, DJ Elliot. I did not know DJ Elliot.
Back when I was thinner and I had hair.
When I had no hair, because I used to cut my hair more bald.
So I guess, if we talk about our time at Celebration and share some behind the scenes stuff that nobody knows about, because that's why they're all here. Mm-hmm. So little known fact, as Mark just stated, that we did not know each other prior to this starting. In fact, the first time that we met, did we meet in Mark Renfro's office or did we just meet at Chapin Theater? I don't remember.
We met at Chapin Theater because I think you were very much a Mac guy and very connected. So a lot of our things, it was like you were doing drop boxes and we were just talking over the phone and you would send me your mixes. So that was the first time I was like dealing with Dropbox and stuff. So I dealt with you, but not in person.
Okay.
So the first time we met was at the Chapin Theater.
Yeah, I remember meeting Mark Daniels. I remember meeting Mark Renfro, who put us together, essentially. He hit me up and said, hey, we're going to do this warm-up thing for Celebration 5. And I said, what's Celebration? And they said it's a giant Star Wars, Comic-Con, essentially. And we were in. So, and do you remember what we got paid to work that first Celebration, Mark?
We got paid smiles and handshakes.
I think we each got $100. Yeah. I think that's what we got.
And free sushi. Remember, we had that big meeting.
Oh, that's right. We did. We had the free sushi.
But you know what? It was interesting because Celebration 5, if you don't know who Mark Renfro is, he directed. Elliot was and myself. I did one of the first ever Star Wars weekends back in 1997. And Mark Renfro was a director that came on and started doing the main stage shows eventually at Star Wars weekends when celebrities had like a main stage show. And they liked what he did so much, they brought that to Star Wars Celebration. And that was the first year they had the idea to turn Star Wars Celebration into a party. And if you remember the lanyards, it was like all the characters were partying and they had confetti, which was the rebel symbol, and the Imperial cog falling like confetti.
I just remember I remember walking into the Orange County Convention Center and the very first thing by that escalator was that giant AT-AT.
Oh, yeah. And I think, I think it was some of the first time I saw giant Star Wars props because the biggest thing was the Rancor at Star Wars weekends and everything at the studios was kind of like behind the scenes. So it was half of an ad, not a full size ad. So it was really cool to see the mega props that they had at Celebration Orlando.
Yeah. So we did a good job at Celebration 5. And they said, hey, come back. We're going to be back in Orlando for Celebration 6. So we did the Celebration 6, did the same thing again. That was a lot of fun. And then at the end of Celebration 6, they made that big announcement that they were going to Germany with the polka band and the free pretzels outside. And Mark and I kind of, realized that, hey, if it's not going to be Orlando, we're probably not going to get to be a part of this.
Yeah.
We talked to Mark and Mark was like, look, I'm not going overseas. We only do the ones here in the States. So if you go, then you need to talk to this woman named Mary Franklin. So he gave me her email address and I reached out to her. And immediately after reaching out to her, she emailed me back in like 10 minutes and was like, oh my God, we just stepped out of a meeting and we didn't know how we were going to do this without you and Mark. Would you be willing, if we had to fly you coach. And I remember saying, I'll fly freaking, as a luggage. We just want to come. So we got to go to Germany, and Germany for the longest time was my personal favorite celebration.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What was your favorite celebration?
I think you're right. Up until that point, I think it was Germany, because it was the first time for me performing out of the country, and just the whole, our hotel was perfect. It was like it was like part of the convention center. Like literally, my break room was my hotel room.
But we actually had break rooms. Remember, we had like our little rooms with our names on it.
Yeah, we did. And what was cool too? I think that's the first time like I met a lot more of people from the Star Wars universe, and we were able to talk a lot more. I mean, I sat in a room with Kathleen Kennedy for like 10 minutes, just kind of talking. I met Dave Chang, who's like still a friend now, but it was just because we were all in a different country. We just kind of really sat and just talked more. And like you said, we had our own break room.
Well, and we really, that was kind of, because when we were in Orlando, we stayed at our houses. So we would drive up every day and just do the event and go home. So we weren't there for the before stuff and the after stuff. We didn't really live Celebration like the guests do. But in Germany, you're right. Like, we got invited to all the parties. We got, I just remember sitting at a table at the first 501st dinner there, and Kevin Leal was across from me, and I had Jeremy Bullock on one side and Peter Mayhew on the other side and Daniel Logan on the other, and I was just like, wow, this is surreal. Like, so we're part of it.
I got to ask you a question, Elliot. What was it like? Because I had these surreal moments where people that make Star Wars happen recognized us. Like, the biggest one is when Doug Chang asked to take a photo with me. And I was like, huh? He's like, can I have a photo with you, Mark? I've seen you. So they've seen us like in Orlando twice. And now they're asking, what's it like? I mean, to me, it's unbelievable. I'm like, you want to take a photo with me? I want to take a photo with you. What was that like the first time?
It was. I think the first surreal moment for me was when Mark Hamill pulled you and I aside backstage. I think it was at Celebration 6, and he told us, I really appreciate what you guys do. Like, people don't understand how hard that is, and you guys are so great. And I was just like, this is really bizarre, but it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Yes, and
I don't have as much time backstage as you, because I'm out on the stage.
That's true. That's true. But let me tell you something. I get to see a lot of people appreciate your work. So I get to see that, and I get to chill.
Yeah, it is. It's
But I tell you what, just as much as how awesome you are, you bring the music, the right stuff to play. I mean, when you and I are working together and just jiving, like, I can make a joke, I can say something, and you find the right song, the right sound effect, the right clip, just to make everything just seem seamless, like we have been working on it. And the truth is that we don't rehearse anything before we go out. Unless I'm playing a game, I can tell Elliot, I'm playing this game and I want you to play music, or they might get something right, have fun with it. If they get something wrong, have fun with it.
Because between Celebration 5 and Celebration 6, like, we didn't keep up with each other. We, we had a great time. It was good. We added each other on Facebook, and then we didn't see each other again till 6. And then, our friendship definitely grew out of Celebration, even, for you, living with me for that short bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I still do.
Everybody always joke about, like, you guys probably live together. No.
And I think I actually came to your house to do some podcasts just to keep that image going. Hey, I got something fun I want to do real quick. I'm going to ask a question. All you viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. I'm going to ask a question. I already have the answer, and I'll give it a few minutes, and I'll put up the answer and see if you got the correct answer. So the first question is, just, you can mention it in the comments, is a weapon an Ewok would carry. So in about a minute, I'll put up the answer I'm looking for and see if anybody got it. But it's a weapon an Ewok would carry, a simple weapon that an Ewok would feasibly carry. Yeah,
that's it. Protectors, right? To keep
Mm-hmm. So I see some funny ones. Sherry said a rock. A rock.
Hey, man.
Oh, man. Yeah. So, One of the big things in Celebration, I remember from 5, was the main event when Jon Stewart interviewed George Lucas, and when I met Dave Filoni for the first time. But that was a pretty big main event. You have anything you remember the most that you enjoyed, or because we're fans and we get to see a lot of things behind the scenes. But was there something that made you really excited, DJ Elliot?
I mean, my moment was watching the Force Awakens trailer for the first time, and I was really excited. And I was looking, up at the screen, trying to watch the trailer. It was a horrible view, but I knew I had to get back. I had to get back on stage, and Patrick, who was stage managing backstage, tapped me on the shoulder. And I looked at him, and he pointed, and standing right there next to me was JJ and Kathleen, watching the trailer in the same spot. And I then stopped watching the screen and watched them the whole time. And I think that really was my favorite, moment.
And now you won't do it, but I'm going to give you some flexing power right now. And so Elliot, he won't tell you, but I'll tell you, he took a picture of J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy watching the trailer with the audience. And this is probably the first time they've run this trailer for this many people. And he took a photo. And he told Kathleen Kennedy, hey, I took a photo of you and JJ, and I was standing there. She said, oh, that's a great photo. Why don't you send it to me?
Yeah. And I said, she went to give me her email, and I was like, oh, I'll get it from somebody. Like, I know Pablo real well, so I'll just get the email from Pablo. And so like a couple, days later, I asked Pablo, I'm like, hey man, I need to get Kathleen's email address from you so I can send her this photo. And he goes, no, man, I'm not giving you her. That's not why you want it. So I still haven't been able to give her the photo. So it's still man. No, so my plan now is I'm just going to print it out in a frame, and I'm going to hand it to her when I see her and be like, here you go. So.
All right, so I see some good answers, but the answer I'm looking for it's going to be weird, was this. They're going to be tough. It's going to be a little weird. I won't pick the obvious, but yeah, I like you got spare, you got rolling logs. You can't carry Could you imagine Ewok carrying rolling logs on his back? Nup.
So that is, because the rolling logs took out the ATST, which is how I know that it's AT-AT and not AT-AT, because it's not ATST.
Yep, true. All right. I got another one. Okay, you did good, everybody. Let's see if you can get this one. It's a little easier. Name a type of trooper. A type of trooper. I'm writing it down right now, the right answer.
Not a pooper trooper. So trying to figure out which one you want.
I'm sending it to you, like Luke did Leia. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good call.
So we got to Germany. After Germany, we went to Anaheim.
Anaheim, yes.
Anaheim, Elliot, was good, but it was the first time, unlike Germany, and that was, for me, it was hard. When I went from Anaheim to Germany, it was hard from Germany to Anaheim, because the first time I felt Hollywood, man. Everybody had their own trailer. Yeah. It was different. Like the celebrity, because they just moved like they were on a movie set. And it was very much like places you couldn't go, and that's what I really felt with Anaheim. It was very, very, and not even the stars were like that. It was just the Hollywood machine.
Yeah. Well, that was when, Disney actually took over production of the, studio panels. So the Force Awakens panel wasn't the team that we'd worked with in the last 3 celebrations. So it was like done by their marketing department. And now we're used to that now, because anytime there's a major panel, it's always going to be, and the people that we've worked with from the studio, super great. Like, love seeing them, love working with them. They definitely raised the bar. So, it's cool. I mean, that first time we saw that Force Awakens trailer, like, that moment being in that room, we were all very fortunate that, we were there. So it was cool. And then Anaheim, was it London?
I think London.
Is that where we went next?
D-Lang loved Anaheim more than Orlando. They probably live in California. Like, I just had to drive. But Anaheim was fun. What I liked
Um,
about Anaheim is the walking distance to Disneyland. So
yeah.
that and
I don't know if people know this. Like, we're big Disney
right,
people.
we're
Like,
bigger. Like
you know,
honestly, just because of our work, I don't know about you, Elliot, but for me, you and I could be like the best Disney warm ups ever. Like if there was a Disneyana convention, whatever. What is it? D23?
look, we've been trying for years to get into the D23. And in Anaheim, we had invited the head of D23 to come see us do warm up. And he went to Celebration. He just never came and saw us on the stage, because I remember him texting, be like, "Hey, man, thanks for the passes. We had a really great time." And I was like, cool.
Yeah,
You never actually came to see it.
Oh, man.
No.
Yeah, so let's say, so once again, I'm looking for a certain type of trooper, and I haven't seen the answer I'm looking for yet. Haven't seen it yet. So also, if you have any questions for DJ Elliot, Star Wars DJ, or myself, Mark, you can put them in the comments, and we'll answer them. Yeah, let's talk about what else. So after Anaheim, London. And
yes.
That big Star Wars fan event, which rocked my world.
Oh, the one at Madame Tussauds? The 501st at Madame Tussauds was great, but the real one for us that was super cool was we got to play the O2 Arena for the hashtag Cantina bash. So that was...
I still couldn't imagine how big that was going to be, how big that was.
No, we just had seen, Martin Keeler had posted, hey, we're going to do this event. And Mark and I were like, well, I mean, we're there. We might as well do it. So we reached out to him, and he said, absolutely.
And slowly, as I walked in, slowly started. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Because I don't know the O2 Arena, really. I didn't.
Well, and we're not from the UK. There's like 5 people that know that Ash is this great big band. We'd never heard of them because we're from the United States. But it was quite the event. So it was a really neat way to like kick things off. So
and that's where I met Darth Elvis. Shout out to Darth Elvis.
Yep, same. And I remember I was like, this is gonna be really weird. Like when I first heard, I looked into who everybody was, and I was like, yeah, this is probably gonna be. And he's here, so he's gonna hear me say this. I'm like, this could be really bad. Like an Elvis impersonator that's going to sing Star Wars songs. And it was awesome. My wife still sings the Ewok Stole My Speeder Bike.
It was fun. I'm glad I got to be a part of it. And I'm glad I was introduced to just clever musicians and just really funny stuff, David Collins, I didn't know he played music. That was cool. So, and they gave us the most awesome thank you. So once again, it's still hanging on my wall, and it's they gave us
the trading cards,
Star Wars trading cards. I'm so proud of that picture. It's so cool. So shout out to Matt. And so the answer I was looking for, so close. Got Flame Trooper, we got Sith Trooper, but Clone Trooper is all good. But what I was looking for was Sand Trooper. I'm doing good. Y'all ain't getting it. All right.
Well, hey, we have a great question. And the question is, it seems like we always have everything under control. Have we ever had any goofs on the celebration stage? So here's a little insight on what we're actually doing there. We're kind of there with the intent of entertaining you guys, but we're really there as a buffer in case things don't start on time. So like stretching and waiting for guests to show up, I don't think people understand. So the 5 minutes before the panel starts is like the most stressful time, because they're either ready to go and it's going to happen right at time. But now you'll know our secret. Mark will look at me and I'll do this, which means we got to keep stretching. Sometimes I'll just say a number over the microphone, like 4, 2, and then he knows how much more time he has to go. So really, it's kind of, my job is kind of stressful because I'm the one that can see the clock. And so sometimes they'll be ready to go and Mark will be like out in the audience, like way in the back of the auditorium, and time will be up, and everyone's standing, off in the wings, and I can see them, and they're like, let's go. And I got to, rein Mark in, but yeah, big goofs. Anyone stick out?
You know what? The big goof I remember is actually not Star Wars Celebration, but New York Comic Con. But things like that have happened at Celebration. I think a big goof sometimes, like I go out to play a game. So either like the panel loves us or hates us. If not enough people are there, they love that we're out there stretching. But once they're ready to go, and I'm like Elliot pointed out, I'm out in the audience because they told me to stretch. So I made a big game, and now I have to rein in props and different things like that. But I remember one time, we were ready to go, and you were like, Mark, when I told you we're ready to go, I'm like, heck yeah, because I ran out of stuff. You're like, yeah, we're not. And so the big goofs are more like, so what falls on me sometimes, and why there's a benefit of having DJ Elliot, is that I might be stretching, and he might tell me 4 minutes, and I come up with something that I can do in 4 minutes, and then all of a sudden the clock changes, and you've seen it, to 10 minutes. So at the 3:59 mark, Elliot's about to call me in, and it could change to 10 minutes. And all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, how are we doing up there? And Elliot just go 10. And I'm like, huh? So we'd have those kind of those moments of, just like Elliot pointed out, trying to stretch and running out of time. But like I said, Elliot knows great music, and I could just be like, Elliot, give me some music, and I can regroup. So that's the godsend of having DJ Elliot up there when those moments hit. I'm trying to think of any big goofs.
Yeah. Well, and somebody brought something up in the comments, and it was the biggest change for us, when we went to Germany that we didn't think about is, when we're at Celebration in Florida, it never occurs to us that, hey, this whole audience might not all speak English very well. We didn't. It's something we never even thought about. We just, and so Mark goes out there to talk to this girl to do the Princess Leia thing, and she's not, she's obviously French and doesn't speak English very well. And he's flustered by that. He just blurts out, oh, I don't have a prize for you right now. I'll give you something in French later. And then.
Yes. Oh man. Darth Fluffport brought that up. Yeah. So I literally said that very innocently, and I think it's on video. And I said, oh yeah. And she was dressed as, a slave Leia. So it came across, it could come across very inappropriate. So I was like flustered, and I was giving out a prize, and I only had one prize left in the bag, and she was so French, and she had the French accent trying to do the Star Wars line in English, and I'm like, I ran out of gifts. I'm gonna give you something in French later, and Elliot just comes out and just points it out. And he's like, what? Your wife is here. I'm like, no, I didn't mean it that way. So it made for, but. That goof made for an awesome moment, and everybody was laughing because they knew I did it innocently. So yeah.
So Anaheim, we went back to Orlando, and we had our infamous, event that I'm sure both of us, in retrospect, wish we wouldn't have done, which was the late night, playing music in the hall late night for people that were in line, waiting to get in to see the. Was it the 40th anniversary panel? Was that the first one?
That was a big one. It's a monster.
So we were excited because for the first time when we were in Orlando, they gave us hotel rooms. So we were just going to be across the street. So we were super stoked about that. And we got this last minute call from Reed Pop that was like, hey, so we've got about, 1,000 extra people in this line that we weren't counting on. Is there anything that you and Mark can put together real quick to help us entertain these people? Because in Anaheim, maybe 50 people slept over to do the trailer, and then Kathleen and
I thought it was more than that. It seemed like it's more than 50 though.
Maybe 100. It wasn't a huge number because the folks that we work with at Reed just weren't anticipating as many people to stand in line for that panel. So, we busted our ass trying to get DJ equipment up there. Like I ran back to my house in Orlando, and they're like, look, you have to be back by 10 because at 10 o'clock we're locking the doors and we're not letting anybody else in. And it was just always funny because, all the all the pushback we got from people were like, oh, you guys were loud. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we started at 10:30 and stopped at 11:30, but everybody's, sleeping on that concrete floor made everybody really frustrated. Yeah. So, we understood that, but, in retrospect, I remember Mark and I walked away because, everybody was coming up and being really, really complimentary and having a good time. And we thought everything was going great. And then right as we were getting ready to stop, like some people came up and were like, hey, can you turn the music off? We're trying to sleep. And we were like, whoa, hey,
I think what we experienced is what the Star Wars directors experienced.
Yeah.
Because to be honest with you, people were trying to sleep and everything, but I still talk to people that came out and danced with us. I made friends with those people. So it's like people came and they were having fun, and people who wanted to have fun came to have fun, and people who wanted to sleep, it bothered them. But we were there to entertain people. And if it was just you and I sitting there with music and like no one, then I'd feel bad. But there was at least 50 people, that were having a good time. Yeah. And a lot of people were having a good time in the beginning. It's just that they got tired and left and came back. Was like, stop. It's like, but you were here in the beginning. So
No, it was rough, but we made it through. It was a good celebration. The first couple days were rough because everybody was kind of sleeping on the floors and nobody really had a good time those first couple days just because, everyone was exhausted from, trying to get in but it got better. And then, my newest favorite celebration was Chicago, man. I don't know, but I know we talked a little bit about Chicago before we got there because we were nervous because we were very fortunate that we got to do Celebration 5, 6 in Germany. Because after Germany, I don't know for you, but after Germany, to me, Celebration kind of started to not feel like Celebration for a while. It seemed very much, it just wasn't that. The reason I liked Germany so much was it felt like we were all Star Wars family hanging out together. And then we just kind of started to lose that for a while. And then in Chicago, it was the first time that, again, I felt, this is that Star Wars family we haven't seen in a couple years. This is great. So that's why I was really excited about Anaheim is, hey, people are starting to enjoy Star Wars again. This is going to be awesome. So, I was really looking forward to getting together with everybody, but I guess we'll do it again in a couple years.
Well, we're doing it here. This is good. Thanks to everybody watching. All right, here's my next question. We're looking for something you'd find on the floor inside Mars Eisley Cantina. Something you find on the floor inside the cantina. Ooh. Type them in. I'm looking for a certain answer.
I'm going to type it in.
Yes.
There we go. That's mine.
Bring them.
I wanted to get mine in.
You know what was really cool at Celebration, and that's a shout out to the 501st Celebration Chicago. I mean, I think we went through when we got there. It wasn't snowing. Then it got like blizzard, right?
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is that there were snow troopers out in the snow. And it was like something I had never experienced in my life to see full-on 501st snow troopers in real snow. That was really cool.
Well, and we made it back in another arena.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I remember the first time walking into that arena in Anaheim and just being like, "What has this turned into?"
A monster, right? We're like, everybody's getting into this one. They were like, "Look, everybody's getting into this panel." And still, not everybody got it.
Well, we worked really in Chicago. We worked really hard with the 501st to put together that night for them too. We brought in again Darth Elvis again, and now the other band's name escapes me right now, and I feel like such a jerk. Blues Harvest. That's right, Blues Harvest. Sorry, I'm like, it's killing me. And then unfortunately, we brought Level Up Leroy.
Level Up Leroy.
Oh, that guy.
He was rocking out earlier, right?
That guy bugged me for like a whole year to try to talk to me. And then, when we met at an event in the Little People UK event, he drove all the way, he drove like 3 hours or something to come up and meet me. and we had dinner at this like English buffet type place, and we talked and got to know each other. So
you know what's funny though? I got to shout out to Leroy because and knowing Elliot and Elliot training people to be DJs and including people in his business, is he actually likes what Leroy did. I think you admire that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the
well, I mean, he basically just copied everything that I did. You know, the fact that he's on here makes it even better. So,
all right, so I saw empty cup. Somebody said Greedo on the ground. I wish I thought of that.
Mine was an arm.
So the correct answer I'm looking for is Elliot.
Yeah. See, we do think alike. What do I win?
You win your own personal Zoom with me.
Oh, right. Cool. Well, I mean, you know, you could just drive over.
Yeah. Any real cool panels stood out to you? You know what? There was a thing I always tell this story, and it's really funny to me. While panels were going on, one of the first things I started noticing is what people call live tweeting, right? So the panel's going on, they're busy typing what's being said and what the answer is and what the topic is. And I remember there was a panel, and the front row was all people on their computers. You know, they're looking and typing everything that's going on. And they introduced Thrawn, and they showed the image of what he would look like for Clone Wars, right? They showed an image, and then they showed the lizard things. And so people had no idea, right? Nice surprise. And I remember looking down at one of these fans that was live tweeting, and they had already introduced Thrawn. People who weren't live tweeting were like excited about it. And he finished typing out who it was. So now it's silent in the room. And I remember he just finished and he went, yeah! Like he just had to do it, but he had to finish. So everybody had already gotten excited and screamed and cheered. And then he said, yeah! I was like, back to typing. So that was really funny to me.
Favorite panels. I don't know. I always enjoyed the ones with Carrie Fisher because we just never knew what she was going to say or going to do. It would just be funny to watch them like produce this entire show that they were going to have her do and all these things, and she'd come out and you just watch, you know, the stage manager and the director just throw their cards in the air and be like, whatever. I give up. I give up. There's no controlling her. Like, just it was really neat though. I remember the first time I was like really touched at a celebration was watching Warwick Davis interview her, and then it occurred to me in my brain that they've known each other since he was a child, and that just to me seems so cool. I was like, that's how neat is that? Like, I just thought that was cool.
Yeah, and you saw them talking to each other because, like, I think I saw a behind the scenes one, and like she was always carrying him around. She kind of like, you know, took care of him, like, because he was the youngest person on set at the time.
Yeah,
you know.
No, I know that you obviously have your Carrie Fisher story you've told.
I know, that was unbelievable. I was backstage. And she had just gotten off, and I think I was standing backstage. And she looked at me. She goes, "Hey, you're a tall drink of water. Come over here." And I was like, "Okay, I can walk." She planted this huge kiss on me, and left. And I looked around like, and only one. I forget who the tech was backstage. He just looking at me like, and I was like, "That just happened, and you saw it." One my favorite panel, and it's something that we started having more of, and they started really showing the creatures, and that was with Matt, and I forget the guy in charge of the effects for Star Wars, but they would put together a panel of creatures, the creatures of Star Wars, and that because I'm a amateur makeup artist, so I love the creatures, and they talk about the next level of how they animate the faces so the masks move on their own, they blink, they look around, and I really used to get a kick out of those panels, and I remember talking to Matt. And the other guy who's in charge of all the effects, his name escapes me right now.
Is that Neil?
Yes. Neil something. Yeah, Neil. Yes, Neil Scanlon. Yeah, Neil.
Scanlon.
he was talking about how much he wanted to show that. And he said if he does another panel, he was talking to me and he said, I might actually take a person from the audience and put them in an outfit. And I was like, whoa. First of all, I wanted to be that person, but I can't. But that's what I was looking forward to most again for this new celebration is when because he would have done it. Because he wanted people to really see what it's like to go into a costume. And until you wear one, and I've had the privilege of wearing costumes in the past and Star Wars costumes for the theme parks. Until you're inside of a costume, you don't really appreciate what Jonas and Peter Mayhew and all those and Warwick Davis, what they go through and how long they stay in costume and how uncomfortable it is. And most costumes you don't see out of. It's really hard. You see, the more realistic they are, the less you see.
10 years, man. Can you believe that?
10 years. How about anybody in the chat have favorite moments from past celebrations? I remember James Arnold Taylor, the night they gave the pizza to everyone. He walked around saying hi and talking to everyone that waited in line to the point where I had to leave. He was out there, way past bedtime. And I said, James, I got to wake up at like 6. I got to go.
Yeah.
But,
the fan mixer party in Anaheim was very, very memorable. That was a really, really fun moment. We had done, fan mixers prior. We did the Pringles one, but just where the location of it was, like people that normally wouldn't have stopped at the party when they exited the convention center were just drawn to what was happening. And it was just such a great group of people. And even you were like on your way to bed and you ended up staying.
You were doing that by yourself. And I think I walked on stage with you and, it was cool because I'm with the DJ.
I know you got to be Flavor Flav for the first time.
And I tell this story. I just told the story in the panel I was at. And then you were there. Of course, you were DJing. But what I want to say is that there was a guy, and he was a wounded vet. And I have a picture of him still. And he gave us a challenge coin. And he said, hey, I just want to give you guys this challenge coin. He said, I'm a wounded vet, and I'm in pain, but I'm not in pain because I'm dancing. And I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And it's something that, I always tell the story because it was just so cool. It really stood out to me. I wish I could remember that guy's. I never knew his name or anything, but I wish I could find out what he was doing right now.
Yeah, I have the coin. It used to sit here on this desk, but I cleared the desk off to put all the streaming stuff on it. So, and my moment was at the first fan party that we did. A young lady came up and gave me a napkin that just said, because that first party it didn't go well. We started playing music, and it looked like a middle school gym. Like all the boys were on one side of the dance floor and all the girls were on the other. And I just remember stopping. And it's something that I've said now at every celebration we've ever been at, which is, look, the best thing about what's happening right now is you're in a room full of people that love the same thing that you do. And so much, they love it so much that they paid money out of their pocket. They took time out of their schedules and they came here. That's not a normal fan. Just a fan of something doesn't do that, If you're a super fan, you're going to buy tickets, you're going to get on an airplane, you're going to book a hotel room, and you're going to come and do this. So it's super cool to meet people that you'd never, ever, form a relationship before. The one of the other reasons I'm really, really sad about not being in Anaheim right now is there were two ladies that I introduced to each other in Chicago, and they were seated alone, and I made them sit together. And by the end of the panel, like they both came up and they're like, oh my God, we've been talking this whole time and we've exchanged all this info and now we're like best friends. And I said, cool. When we do the next celebration, I want the two of you to come up and say hello. And I know that Mark and I, anytime we love to meet everybody. Like, we always, anybody that's met us in person knows that we'll take the time to actually have a conversation with you because, that's what I think is the coolest thing about you and I before the panels is we're not celebrities. We're just fans that got lucky and we're given the opportunity to help kill time with fellow fans. So I think that's why we're, people are like, oh, you guys are great. We're really not that great. we're you. We're the epitome of you, except the only difference is we're not not as terrified as you might be to be on that stage. I mean, most of the time I'm up there, I'm terrified, which is why, little secret you don't know. That's why I stand behind the table. As a DJ, I'm safe as long as I'm behind that table. So any of those times that I step out, it gets a little scary. So
yeah, it is scary. And shout out to Mary, who said she snagged a selfie with me in Orlando when we were out there that night. But that's like kind of like what Elliot was talking about.
You're in charge.
I'm in charge now. So yeah. I got another question. Let's see. Ooh, name a Star Wars language. A Star Wars language. I'm writing down what I'm looking for right now. A Star Wars language. I just asked a question. I'm looking for a Star Wars language. Mary says basic. And I want to talk. I'm gonna jump away a little bit from Celebrations, and I had the pleasure to be a character that's now in canon at Galaxy's Edge, and it's a Kembe. Kembe is not the name, but the position, like master, and it is a expert in lightsaber building. And I learned so much. Like one thing is like, I think it's really cool that in Star Wars, basic is basically English, and it's basic. It's a basic language that most creatures in the universe can speak if you want to be bilingual.
Look at this. You went all the way from Celebration 5, not knowing who Dave Filoni is, to now knowing what you're the ultimate Star Wars fan.
You're going from nothing to too much useless information.
So Leroy asked a really good question for both of us, which is, some movie stars have liberated props from sets they've worked on. Have we taken anything from a Celebration stage that you've worked on? And if so, what?
I think Leroy he's got some beef with you, Elliot.
Did you take anything?
Me?
From a stage?
No. I'm trying to think if I ever took anything. No, because I think I don't feel connected. I wanted that, but I didn't deserve it. I don't feel as connected to the stage as you do, because they set up your DJ booth.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, that thing was sick. That thing is famous.
I don't have anything. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, it's me DJing now.
That thing was really cool, and it was part of the logo throughout the day.
And it wasn't hooked on very well. I'm just saying, it's just some black.
It's funny. I looked at the stage and I saw it was missing, and I didn't even ask. I literally looked at it and said, "Well, he deserves it." I knew it was you.
Well, so Michael Montgomery was the art director that designed all of this stuff, and I actually said to him, I said, "Hey, what are you going to do with all that stuff?" He's like, "We're going to throw it away," and I went, "Nope, you're not going to throw this one away."
Yeah, I knew. I was like, Elliot, that's Elliot's.
So someday maybe we'll auction this off for charity or something. I'm sure somebody might want it, but it does look very nice it was in my office, which we don't have anymore, but hey.
Hotties, look at that. Wookie, Shweewook. Here's what I'm looking for. I was looking for Jawaiis.
I love seeing more of the Jawas in the last season of Mandalorian. It was so great to watch him, duck in the little cockpit.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So great.
I'm looking forward to the deep dive of characters we know in the Mandalorian. I'm excited about it. I'm excited. Yeah. I think Gamorrean guards are going to come into play. So I'm excited to see more of that. Here's another question. Name a bounty hunter. Name a bounty hunter. I wrote it down. Name a bounty hunter. Woohoo! Look at your good night now. IG-11. What a fun droid.
I know.
Wait a minute, I'm thinking of IG-88. Who's IG-11? Oh, yeah, I know IG-11.
Mandalorian, yeah.
IG-11 is not IG-88 from Mandalorian. IG-88 is from, I'm confused now. Help me out, fans. IG-88 is from Mandalorian.
No, IG-88 is from Star Wars. IG-11 is from Mandalorian.
Got it.
Ooh, Aura Singh.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Leroy. Somebody got it, actually. Somebody's actually gotten it. Somebody's gotten it.
Well, then just tell them if they've already got it.
I know. I'm just waiting for somebody else to get it, but I will say Darth Elvis got it.
Hey!
Darth Elvis got it.
So I guess since we're down to our last like 10-ish minutes, so we should start thinking about ways to close out. So what are you going to do now until the next celebration?
My plan is,
it's horrible to ask somebody right now, like, what do you got going on?
My plan is to survive 2020. We've been doing like little panels and stuff, and I'm learning Zoom, and hopefully, who knows? I'm trying to invent new entertainment in this new space. So, who knows? And like I said, I have the pleasure of being able to play a character at Galaxy's Edge. So hopefully that will come back online. And there's so much new stuff. Like in Galaxy's Edge, there's a new game coming out for the Oculus Rift where you can move around Galaxy's Edge. There's a new book out called The Guide to Batuu or Galaxy's Edge. So all that is great fodder for me as a character living in that world, so I can just eat it up and help fans create stories when they're there. So
and the best is you can get the Lego transporter that comes out on.
And then there's a line of toys coming out at Target that is from Black Spy Outpost. So like there's a Savi's lightsaber kit.
Oh, cool.
So there's Sherry said it came out today. The Lego, or are you talking about the lightsaber?
According to the Lego website, it is not released until September 1st. But I have seen it on some shelves. But I have only been ordering via online from Lego. I did get my Bespin set, which would have been the Lego exclusive for all these conventions. So, because I have all the other ones, because I'm a nerd when it comes to Lego. I have like 3 of them built on my table right now downstairs.
Has everybody in this room been to Galaxy's Edge, either at Disneyland or Walt Disney World? If you haven't, it's really cool. Because much like the Mandalorian, I think it's a good love letter to Star Wars when you walk in. A lot of people like, it's not a place when you walk in, but it's a place you can feel. You feel like, there's I won't call them props, but there's items strewn about Black Spy Outpost, because it's a place where people come from all over the galaxy. So it's really cool to see things from different films. I think there are items from every single franchise in the Star Wars world strewn out throughout that Galaxy's Edge. So it's really cool.
Leroy thinks he's getting a private tour of Galaxy's Edge from us. He doesn't understand that costs money.
Yeah, we ain't working right now.
Yeah, see, Mark and I used to do a lot of stuff for free. Unfortunately, both of our jobs in the real world require being in front of large crowds of people. So neither of us are doing anything. So if you need anything hosted or see some yard work done in your yard
with music, yard work with music,
you just let us know and we will be.
D-Lang, I'm gonna tell you something. So if you have any questions about Galaxy's Edge before we go, you can ask me, because I am somewhat of I won't say an expert, but I'm a citizen. But I want to tell you, I don't know if D-Lang has eaten the Ronto wraps. They are really good, but my favorite is the popped grain, which is popcorn, and they flavor it. It tastes like Captain Crunch with pepper on it. And that sounds gross, but it's amazing because it's warm.
Okay. Yeah, but you grew up in the islands, so. Joel asked when Mark and I first met. We talked about it at the beginning, but since you just got on here, actually the first time we met was on stage at Chapin Theater for Celebration 5. We had talked to each other via text and emails, but we physically met for the first time at Celebration 5. So. That was when we first met each other.
I think at Disney we'd heard of each other just because in the entertainment world. But laying eyes on.
Have you gotten Wookiee mode on Smuggler's Run? We have now, because now with social distancing guidelines, or as Disney calls it, it's physical distancing at Walt Disney World. It's one party per ride. So yeah, we were able to do it. It's not as cool as it sounds.
So Wookiee, I don't think so. Wookiee mode is when you crash it so much Chewbacca takes over.
No. So Wookiee mode, all of the he doesn't talk to you anymore. It's just Chewbacca talking to you. So he just roars at you.
And what does that? What?
You have to enter in a combination of you have to hold there's instructions on how to do it on the internet.
So it's something you trigger before the ride happens.
Yeah. So and you have to do it before the cast member hits go. So we actually had a really great cast member. We were like, hey, it's just the two of us. We've been on this tons of time. Can you help us figure out how to do it? And they kind of rolled their eyes and were like, yeah. And so they unlocked it. And it was, we got off and the cast member was like, what'd you think? And we were like, yeah, I understand. It's a neat little Easter egg, but it's just Chewie making noise at you the whole time.
I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but all the controls is really works. I was going to say something, but I didn't want to spoil it for anyone. So,
oh no, my favorite position actually, pulling the lightspeed lever, and anytime if you ride the ride with me and if you're sitting in that seat, I'm going to yell, punch a Chewie, because you have to. You can't.
Yeah.
Lightspeed punch. You have to yell it, and then I do love the engineer spot, because you get to fix everything that breaks, and so your ride is always different depending on how good your pilots are.
Let's see. Joe had a question. Okay, here's one. What's your favorite bar or restaurant in Star Wars and why? And Oga's doesn't count because it's obvious. Bar or restaurant?
Like in the Star Wars universe?
I think so. I think they mean Star Wars universe.
Well,
I think Maz. I think Maz, because I think because of the banners outside. It seems like she was gangster. You know what I mean? Because it's all these banners outside. I don't care who comes over here, because I don't think the Empire would like all those banners. You know what I mean?
I would go with Jabba's sail barge, just because I would want to see Princess Leia in person in that.
You just want a DJ on the barge. That works because he was serving drinks.
Yeah,
but I think Maz Kanata. I think that. Because it was more impressive. When you went inside, to me in the film, it wasn't as impressive as Mos Eisley, but I think the outside was really cool. You know what I mean? Because you can't beat Mos Eisley. You can't beat it. There's so much left to the imagination in there. Because some about it, the way they shot it, because it's not that big. It's not that big, and Oga's, it's not that big, but there's something about how they shot it. It's kind of like Spielberg-esque, where you just feel like you know it. You've seen it so much. Yeah. I don't think anything ever will come close to that. Even the cantina in The Mandalorian is cool, but there's something about that introduction to that thing.
It's the same cantina.
I know, but still, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, Elliot, the way they shot it.
Well, if you watch the behind the scenes, they talk about how they used the screens to actually recreate the rest of it. But the droids do offer better customer service. Joel's right about that, as voiced by Mark Hamill. So, well, I think that does it for our time. So thank you, everybody, for stopping by to see us. The reason we call it the show before the show is that's a term that Mark came up with, because everybody kind of asked what it is that we do, and we said, "Hey, he said we're the show before the show," and we kind of created this whole sort of thing. So now we do it all over the place. So,
so Elliot, it's always been a pleasure working with you, and I love working with you and bringing Star Wars fandom to the fans. And I think that's what we miss the most. What we miss the most is connecting with people, friends we've made, and just going out there and remembering and passing patches out, and the physical thing of just smiling and having something in common.
I never thought I would have friends in other countries. You know, it just never seemed like something that I would do. And now, you know, I have couches to sleep on all over the place, and they always have a place to stay here. So, you know, I'm ready for us to travel again, so I can see all of my friends. Yes, Canada is another country. So, so thank you, everybody. We'll see you real soon, as we like to say at Walt Disney World. And Mark, take us out.
Yes, thank you very much. And I want to give a shout out to everyone that actually helps bring Celebration to the world, and that's stage manager, everybody that produces everything. So without them, we'd have no Star Wars Celebration. So shout out to all the volunteers and all those people that work so hard to put Celebration together before Elliot and I show up and before the fans show up. So thank you to that. And thank you to all you fans. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully we'll see you in the year 2021. And may the Force be with you.
Be with you. Bye, everybody.